welcome back to my channel. I was doing my makeup this morning, getting ready to put on my face and go out for the day, and I was like, maybe I should film this because I have a bunch of new products that I was gonna like test out today, and I was like, why don't I just test it out on camera? So that's why I'm like half done. I did like my eyebrows and I did my foundation, and then I like stopped and I was like, wait, let me film this before I get too far. So just a quick recap, I used the Shiseido Future Solutions LX foundation. I know a lot of you have been asking me about this because I've used it in some videos recently, and I've mentioned it in some videos. I love that foundation. I have it in the shade 100, very light ivory, and then my Hourglass brow tool for my brows. Okay, so what we're going to be talking about today, it's a Stila palette, and it's called the Perfect Me Perfect Hue palette. And it's the fair light one. So it has like blushes and eyeshadows, kind of like all in one. So I was really excited to try this. I have the new Nars pot concealers. I have one of the Chantecaille mascaras that I just picked up. I have a Chantecaille, the liquid lipstick. Just picked that up as well. I haven't tried that yet. And then the Estee Edit, this like highlighting palette that I've showed before. So I wanted to try that. And then the Cover FX Perfect Setting Powder. So let's get started here. Just gonna put on my primer potion on my lids. Oops, that's a little too much there. And I haven't played with actually any of these yet. So I'm really excited to kind of see. I mean, I've swatched the Estee Edit palette, and I have not swatched the Stila palette, so I'm really kind of excited. I think what I'm going to do is maybe like, there's like this shimmer here I'm going to put in the crease, and maybe a blend of these two colors on the lid. I'll kind of see, we'll see how it's turning out, and then I'll adjust as I need to. All right, so I'm going to do this like shimmery color right here. And that shade, is that Kitten? No, it's called Breathtaking. And oh, this is shimmery. Wow. But beautiful. You put your brush in it and there is a lot of fallout when you put your brush in. However, when you pat it onto the lid, not so much fallout. This palette has a lot of like pinks to it, and I'm not 100% a pink lover. So I was a little curious as to like, how would it look on me and that sort of thing. But this color is coming out very champagne-like. It's beautiful. Oh my goodness. I hate to tell you get a palette just for one color, but this color is stunning. It's, what is this? It's Breathtaking. It said it's supposed to be the highlighter color. I don't really do a highlight under my brow, so it is my lid color. And then I am going to mix it with the kind of matte bone shade here. I'm going to kind of see what that looks like. Just take down the shimmer just a little bit. So it's just a little more muted and wearable, for during the day. Not that I wouldn't wear it just as is, but I really wanted to see kind of what the two look like blended together. Really beautiful. And then I'm going to do this little plum shade, probably a mixture of this plum and then this really pale pink shade. I'm going to start with the pale pink shade over here, and I'm going to just kind of work that into the crease just to give a slight definition, because I don't want it to be too intense. And so just going back and forth. This is a Zoeva crease brush. I mean, I would probably stop here if I was just, wanted like a really light, quick look, but I want to try that purple. Kind of almost want to use the entire palette, And so I'm really kind of trying to get the purple into the crease a little bit stronger. So I'm not buffing it out as much. Still buffing it out, but just not as broad of strokes as I was doing for the lighter color. So the purple is very, very subtle, which I like. it just kind of gives a little bit of definition so that, you know, defines the eyes a little bit, creates that crease. And it's definitely a little bit pinker than I would, like I said, now that it's on, I'm like, it's a little pink. You know, it's a plum color, but there is, like, when it's on my skin, it definitely is reading very, very pink. I think I'm going to go in with the dark brown, just to add some brown to it. And I'm just going to stay in the outer corner. And this just to darken up, yeah, that really kind of took away some of that kind of purpley effect, which can look beautiful on some girls. I just don't always love a purple kind of plum. I like the plum to be a little bit more brown than I do red. So putting this dark brown on the outer corner, and I'm just kind of like swirling it in the outer corner just to kind of give some definition out here. And I was afraid that the color was going to be way too dark, but it actually is not. So, and then I am taking it a little bit up into the crease, but not too much because I don't want the crease to be like a really, really dark brown. But I will tell you that these colors blend really, really well. Like, the formulation of these blends like effortlessly. Like, I barely put it on my skin and it already starts to blend. Okay, I'm going to get a clean kind of fluffy brush here, and I'm just going to buff out the edges. It's not a fluffy enough brush. I need a fluffy brush. Do this MAC one, this MAC 224. And so when I buff out the edges, because I normally do like that one eyeshadow look, but when I'm doing something a little more dramatic, I almost just kind of like push the brush, not necessarily like pointing like this, but I kind of almost use the side of the brush. And I kind of just rub against the skin to help buff out any edges. And then obviously do windshield wiper motions to just kind of, because that's the real key with a look like this, is you want not really a lot of edges. Okay, and then I am going to use a little bit of that dark color, and I'm going to line my lashes just a little bit. It's probably better if I wet it, because I feel like this color, it's quite dark in the pan, but when I use it, it is not as dark to like dip my brush in. It definitely shears out a bit. So if you're familiar with MAC eyeshadows, like MAC Embark is a very, very dark brown. And that, like, when you put your brush into it, it's like intense pigmentation. And it works perfectly for lining the eyes. And I'm just pushing it into the lash line. I guess it's better that I did my foundation and everything before, because the eyes are a little more complicated. So I want you guys to see all of the steps. So I'm just pushing it into the lashes. Now you can use a pencil or a liquid, whatever. But I'm just trying to get all the colors in the palette here. Okay, so a little bit more defined. And then let's go for the Nars concealer. All right, so I have it in the shade Vanilla, so light 2. I have 2 and I have 2.5 Creme Brulee. I didn't choose to go with, use my finger, let's see what this is like. I didn't choose to go with Chantecaille, which is, I believe, their lightest shade, because I have that in the creamy concealer and it can just be way, way too light sometimes for me. So it's definitely thicker, obviously, because it's a pot concealer, but it is blending in very, very easily. Let me see, what brush am I going to use to kind of blend? Oh, I like this one from Real Techniques. So it is really blending in quite beautifully. Now, I've tried the MAC ones before, the MAC pot concealers, which are, you know, kind of like iconic. And I find on my skin, they can sometimes be a little too heavy. Just kind of like buffing it all out under here. I didn't have a lot of fallout, so that's shocking. But this concealer, I mean, the Radiant Creamy Concealer is quite significant coverage. And sometimes it can get a little cakey on me. But this, to be honest with you, I wasn't too sold on it at first. Because I was like, pot concealers are not always my favorite. Because I can find they get too like cakey under the eyes. And like the more that I apply, I'm just like, ooh, just starts to look like a mess. But this went on beautifully. And this is the shade number 2, and I think it's a perfect shade for me. I like it. I like it a lot. All right, what should we do next? Let's do cheeks. All right, so I'm going to go back to the Steel palette. I'm going to do a mixture of the two. I'm going to start with the more fair one and just kind of dust that over the cheeks, this light pink one. Ooh, a lot of fallout. Just to kind of base out my cheeks. And it's just very, very sheer. It's not really showing up as much of anything, but I always say that and then, you know, I end up applying too much. You guys ever do that? You're like, oh, there's nothing coming on. There's no color coming off of the product. Next thing you know, you're like, have a clown cheeks or something. Okay, so that's really, really pale. So I'm going to go into the darker color and just kind of go right on the apples of my cheeks. Now this is a color that I would absolutely wear all the time. It is like a warm peachy pink. I'm not too much into like cool pinks when it comes to my cheeks, so not like, you know, like a baby doll pink. But this is much more peachy and it's beautiful. Oh my goodness. Really, really, really beautiful and blends so nicely. Oh yeah, now the color's really starting to develop and I'm like, yep. Always need to be careful I don't apply too much. I know my skin really well. Okay. Ooh, I almost forgot mascara. My gosh, I'm looking at my eyes and I'm like, they look really incomplete. Why is that? Because I don't have any mascara on, Mary. All right, this is the Chantecaille. This is the one that I talked about that I purchased during the Nordstrom Mascara Madness sale. This is the faux seal. So there's the longest lash faux seals, or that lengthening one. This is just the basic faux seal and I'm getting it all over my brows. Don't you hate that? The formula though is really, really smooth. Wow. It's like wet, but not exceptionally wet. It's hard to describe, but it is a beautiful formula. Wow. Not super, super thick. You know, this is not like my Chanel Le Volume or something, but I'm curious if I build it up, you know, with like 5 or 6 coats, how it will look. I mean, for the interest of time, I won't do that on camera, but it really is, wow. The formula is very, very smooth, which means, I mean, it's also the brush, but you can tell if the formula is very thick, if it just kind of sticks on the, let me just get this off of my brows, there we go. You can tell if the formula is very thick, no matter how good the brush is, it will just kind of like, you know, stick to your lashes in a bad way, and you kind of can't comb through them almost. But you know what this is though? This is very, very like inky black, which I love. I don't like a kind of a subtle black mascara. I like really like inky black. So that is really pretty. And I'm really liking, you know, now that the eyes are kind of complete, adding that brown in really made it a little bit warmer and took away some of that purpley look that I wasn't really liking. All right, let's go to the highlighter. We're gonna do the Estee Edit. I don't know, what color should I use? What color should I use? Maybe this peachy one, this like lighter peach one. I'll put that on the cheekbones and I'll just mix the two a little bit together. So let's first start with this light one. And what is this like? Oh, this does not play around. Oh, hello. I mean, I swatched it, but oh, hello. Shimmer on the cheeks, big time. Can you see that? Whoa. Y'all want some shimmer for the holidays? Hello. This is what you get. This is ooh, I don't want to put too much because, I mean, I'm like oily, or, you know, I'm combination, especially at my cheeks, I can be a little bit oily, and I don't want to put too much on. But that highlight, wow, it is beautiful. All right, I'm just gonna pop a little bit more color on my cheeks here, and then we'll get to, oh, loose powder. Guys, see how I do my makeup when I'm by myself? I'm like all over the place. I'm like, oh, did I forget mascara? Did I forget powder? Normally when I do it on camera, I like to have some sense of organization, but today I don't. All right, this is the Cover FX. Ooh. Cover FX Perfect Setting Powder. Beautiful. Really nice. What else shade do I have it in? Light. Naturally. So I'm doing it all over. I'm kind of just buffing out my cheeks a little bit. It's nice. It's not too matte. Has a little bit of a radiance, like a fresh radiance to it. I like when loose powders have, you know, some radiance to them. All right, now I think this lip is going to be too light for this look, but let's go with it anyway. And then I have a lip liner here if I need to darken things up. But this is the Chantecaille liquid lipstick in Susie. Yeah, it's definitely like a nude. These are the kind of colors I used to wear all the time many, many years ago. Like very, very nude, like almost flesh tone lips. And I wore darker eye makeup, so it did work. But now that I wear much lighter eye makeup, I feel like the lips are way too nude. So I love the formula, very beautiful. The color needs, for me, it needs to be, let me just blot it a little bit. I'm gonna throw in my Kevyn Aucoin lip pencil in medium. It's way too light for what I prefer. And just adding this to it will help deepen things up. Yeah, a little bit better. Now, if I went full smoky with the eyes, I think a lip like this is perfect. But, you know, it's definitely a little too light for my taste, and especially for these eyes. I mean, the eyes are a little bit more dramatic than I normally do, but, you know, when you put on certain, like, especially a really nude lip, sometimes what can help is adding just a little more blush. Ooh, that is too much. But if you add some Beauty Blender to the rescue, always take a Beauty Blender and just pop it on your cheeks, and you can take down your blush instantly. But I do find that sometimes if your lip is too light, you can obviously add a pencil, but sometimes adding a little more blush helps to balance it out. I don't know. All right, so here is the finished look. I definitely am loving the eyes. You know, I haven't done a kind of more complicated eye in a while, and I really, really like it. And the Stila palette really grew on me. These colors are, oops, sorry, it's right here on my little hair. These colors are so beautiful, especially if you have very fair skin like I do. This is the Fair palette. There's a few different colors, and they kind of deepen up. So I will link all of those below so that you can look at all the other shades that they have. But I like that it's kind of like an all-in-one. But the blending of this Stila palette, whoa. Like the colors, before, like I barely touched the skin and they were already moving around and blending. And not a lot of fallout. In the pan, yes. On the eyes, not so much. Nars Creamy Pot Concealer, love it. Really, it's beautiful. The Chantecaille mascara, it's really nice. Like it is a really beautiful lash formula. And the Estee Edit highlight. Oof. You guys want a highlight for the holidays or just to be glowy all the time. This is a palette to check out. And then the Chantecaille lip in Susie. I know a lot of you love like a really pale nude lip. This would probably be gorgeous on you. And I love the formula. It feels beautiful. But for me, it was a little too pale, so I definitely need a lip liner on top to help deepen it up. And here's the final look, and I will link everything that I used down below, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care. Bye-bye.